Welcome to Let's Talk Love. Today, we're joined by Dr. Ingrid Clayton, a clinical psychologist, writer, and trauma expert. She is the author of Fawning, a groundbreaking book exploring the trauma response that leads many of us to people please, appease, or lose ourselves in order to stay safe. Fawning often shows up in our relationships and shapes how we show up in the world, sometimes without us even realizing it. Today, Ingrid will help us understand why we fawn, how to recognize it, and how to reclaim our voice and our freedom. I learned so much from Dr. Ingrid this week. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hello, everyone. Welcome, friends. I'm so excited about today's episode. Today, we have Dr. Ingrid Clayton with us today from Los Angeles to talk to us about fawning. Ingrid, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You think, what kind of crazy person would be excited about talking about fawning? But I am, Ingrid. I'm very
Well, you and
excited.
me both. I'm in that camp.
I'm gonna put your book up because
Oh, thank you.
this was so every week I have the joy and privilege of speaking with a new relationship expert about their work. And
Yeah.
so I listen to the book, I read the book, and then
Mm,
my best friend Kirsten and I, we do this work together for the podcast. So we both
yeah.
listen and read,
Oh,
and then
that's
we get on
awesome.
Zoom. She's in Scotland, I live here in Victoria,
Mm,
and we talk about our learnings. And you know what? We are both like, what a tremendous book, right? We're both like, what did you think? Because we're both fawners and we both know
okay.
it.
I
I-
love this. Your own
like,
personal book club too, right? And to unpack it with someone who knows you so well, that just feels really meaningful.
and we know the examples. We're like, oh, remember this? Like we've known each other
Yes.
since grade 6. So we have grown up together through marriages, through like being children
Wow.
together and how our
Yeah.
parents were and how
Yeah.
we were as kids. And how it's like, do you remember we used to do that? And this is why. And it's amazing to actually, it
Wow.
is like a little bit of you're your own counselors, right? When you can actually
Yes.
walk through your change and growth together and be like, okay, but we're
Oh.
different now, right?
That's amazing.
So please tell us, Dr. Ingrid Clayton, I want to hear tell us your story of how you actually came into specializing, really studying fawning. And a little bit of your journey on even just becoming a clinical psychologist and really studying fawning.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, there's a reason that I start the book with my own story at 13 years old, because that's how long I've been trying to unpack this thing. I grew up in an actively alcoholic home. What I later came to understand was a narcissistic family system. What was grooming by my stepfather, who, wanted me to be his girlfriend. And I sort of gaslit myself after he was gaslighting me my whole life, like, "You're just ridiculous and being too sensitive." And, like a lot of therapists, I think I went into the field as that sort of wounded healer looking for answers. And although I found many, and certainly decades later, I was not the same person that I was when I went into the field, it still felt like there was something missing, right? And it was not because I hadn't tried. Like, after 3 degrees in psychology and sitting on a million therapist couches, Robin, I went to the retreats, I read the books, I did all the
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
And, long story short, what happened is my stepfather died. And in that moment, I felt safer in the world than I'd maybe felt my entire life. And I felt called, literally called, like woken in the middle of the night, night after night, to write my story. Like scenes from my childhood and even from my adulthood were just dropping in my lap, and I had to get them down on paper, or on my computer, as it were. And it was 5 years of this process of writing and unpacking. And I wasn't even seeing a therapist at the time. But what came, to pass was that now I was a licensed clinical psychologist, long time in private practice. I was a trauma therapist. And when my own story was on the page and I could get enough distance from it, I could finally see it through a trauma therapist's eyes and go, this is complex trauma. This is complex PTSD. That's what this is. And it led me to understand Pete Walker's work, who's the psychotherapist who coined the term the Fawn response. And I thought, this is the missing puzzle piece, right? And fawning is a trauma response.
Yeah.
It's an extension of fight, flight, and freeze. We've talked about those, known about those for a long time. But
Hmm.
fawning is when you appease or caretake in order to lessen the relational harm, right? So if you like me, if I can take care of you, maybe you won't hurt me or leave me. And although we've talked about these types of behaviors through, words like codependent or people pleasing, all of that literature for me anyway, it did a couple of things. One is it was pretty judgmental, right? Pretty shaming. Like you just love to control. And it was, particularly codependency came about in the disease model as a counterpoint to addiction. In essence, there's something wrong with you, just stop it already. And trauma is in the body, it's in the nervous system. And so a trauma response framework allowed me to see how my fawning was not conscious. It was not about
Mm-mm.
control. It was not about pleasing. It was about safety. And it came online reflexively. In other words, without my expressed consent or permission. And of course, when you think about childhood trauma and your trauma response is sort of in the driver's seat 24/7, and that's happening as your body and brain are developing, it becomes this sort of where do I end and where does spawning begin? So talking to me like, well, Ingrid just set a healthy boundary, or why would you care what people think about you? These things make sense cognitively. I go, well, of course I don't want to care what people think about me. My body had different operating instructions, and the body will always prioritize safety and survival, which is what I was living in. And so again, it freed me. It freed me to such a degree, both writing my memoir, but bringing this information into my practice. Like my clients'
Yes.
lives were changing so radically, and fawning is new to the scene. There's not much out there about it, right? And so I wanted to write a book where not only could I see myself reflected, but so many of my clients could not just see themselves reflected, they participated in the book. They gifted me with their stories, as you know, like the depth and breadth of their real life experience. Um, because I'm tired of shaming people who were just their body was doing the best that it could do to survive the environments that they were in. And that was
Yes,
a
of
very
course.
long answer to your very simple question, but that's what brought me here.
That you said so many things, and first that I'm writing a book right now, and I could see how it was like this. It was like your learning, your understanding
Yes,
came through your writing because
yes,
it's like the process that I'm sure you went through that I've been going through too. It's like it's like you write down the words that you try
yeah,
to your understanding, but then you go back and you're like, no,
mm,
that's not it. It's deeper than that. It's
yes,
deeper than that. That's not exactly it yet. That's not. So then you're editing, and you're actually going deeper, deeper, deeper into your knowing, and then
yes,
you probably had a light bulb. You did. You had a light bulb moment. You're like, actually, this is it. And you learned
yes,
about it in school, in practice, but it's
mm,
not until you actually put words and understanding to the experience that you had. Like
yes.
that's profound. That's amazing. That was very healing for you. Amazing.
Yeah, my biggest teacher, and I love writing for that reason. I would say I had a million different light bulb moments. Every sentence becomes an opportunity to go, wait, just exactly how you named it. It's like, I'm not quite articulating the thing that lives in my body, that lives in my experience, and how to do it in a way that's going to actually reach people, right? Not be
Right.
too technical or
Oh,
theoretical and kind of make
exactly.
you go, oh, okay. I love that about the writing process.
Yeah.
And both with my memoir and this book Fawning, it was like, even when I sold the book Fawning to my publisher, I was like, you can say I'm the expert now, but I know that I will be more of an expert after I write this book, right? Like I'm telling you what I'm going to do, but I don't yet know what I'm going to discover in the process. And
Oh,
that was the best
yes.
part for me.
And so, you talk about you share so vulnerably, Ingrid, and I think like that, like thank you for that.
Mm,
Like it's through our vulnerability that we can actually connect with each other and
yeah,
heal together. You say, you're wounded in relationship, and we heal in relationship. And I
that's
think
right.
when I read your book, I was, and and I'm hearing and reading the stories of your
Mm,
clients. It was like that I could resonate with a lot of it. And so
I'm so
this
glad.
it's so good. And so let's walk through what fawning is, because
Yeah.
the way I understand it is like there's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, which
Mm,
is, like you said, this is our safety response. We're not thinking about it. This is like
that's
our
right.
survival. This is a survival thing.
That's
And
right.
so you share the story of when you were 13 years old in the hot tub with your stepdad,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you had been moved with your mom and this new husband to
Yeah.
another town in the woods somewhere in like
Yeah.
I picture it being like the forest, and oh my god, where the hell am I? I'm a little
Yeah.
girl without
That's what it
community,
felt like.
without my family, without my friends,
Yeah.
and with this man who actually dismisses me most of the time. It's just like, the story that we can all kind of see it, right?
Yes.
um Worst case scenario really for a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the story, Ingrid? Like just and how you
Yeah,
and
I mean,
what the fawn response looked like, because I could see it
yeah.
that happening to a lot of girls. Like this would happen.
Yes.
This would be a natural response.
That's right. That's right. So, yes, so you sort of pointed to the fact that most of the time it's not like I liked this man. I was afraid
No.
of him. I didn't like the way he treated my mom, but I was very much aware that he held all the power in the house. Sort of the minute that he moved in, it's like I saw my mom kind of disappear, like fell into his shadow. She
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't even say something unless she'd literally heard him say it before. It's like she lost her own voice, right? So,
Yeah.
quite frankly, she went into her own fawn response, which is
She
real,
was.
right?
This is something we talked about this morning, Kirsten and I. We were
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Ingrid's mom was fawning.
that's right.
She was showing you too. Like it was like you were getting
24/7. Yes.
right. So if you grew up with that model of fawning as
Yes.
like the natural response, that's
Yes.
going to be your your mode too.
That's right. So there's the intergenerational trauma piece, which is also big. There's also the patriarchal piece, which you're pointing to when you say a lot of girls can, what a position to be in, that our bodies also know, not just in our family system, but out in the world, that we're not at the
Yep.
top of the pecking order, right? And so it's like, you hold more power than me. I have to sort of be kind and please and appease in order to, have you like me so I can stay safe. And so yes, so here I was in this hot tub, and it was an odd moment in that he wasn't yelling or raging or putting me down. He wasn't
Mm-mm.
grounding me. He wasn't giving me the silent treatment. Wasn't coming home drunk and sort of, he was seemingly kind and interested. And I really felt like, oh my gosh, he's extending an olive branch. It's like I literally felt my body relax. And I was like, oh, maybe we can be friends.
Yes,
And then,
finally, he's showing me like, oh,
yes,
he wants a connection with me because, well, my mom
yes.
loves him and he's my stepdad. Like
Yes,
all the things. You're like, you want that connection with person. You're living with him for God's sakes.
that's right, that's right. Again, to your point, what felt like in the middle of nowhere, right? Going from the city of Denver just outside to this mountain town in Colorado. And, I'm trying to remember the exact sequence, but in essence, he sort of invited me over to his side of the hot tub. Again, it felt fatherly. I was sort of like, "Okay, like, yes, I'll
Yeah,
sit on
of
your
course.
lap." And then he said, "I'm so glad that we can be this close, and that you don't seem to mind." And there was something about the tone of voice and what he
Hmm.
said in that moment. I knew that I probably should mind, and that he was kind of telling on himself, and my body felt it, right? And then I
Mm.
feel sort of the hands on my hips, and for the listener, nothing happened beyond that. But what did happen is my body absolutely clocked, I am not safe. But it did not forget that this man holds my entire life in his hands. I'm in the middle of nowhere. And when you think
Mm.
about trauma responses specifically, fawn tends to happen when the others are either not available or would make things worse. So this guy is at least twice my size. I've seen my mom's bruises. I never saw physical violence, but I saw her bruises. Fighting back was not safe. Okay, not available to me.
No.
Running, I don't even know our neighbors. Where am I gonna go? This is so true for most children. They're gonna be brought right back to the scene of the crime. Only now you ran away, so now you're really in trouble, right? Just you wait until they leave and then, so flight is not available. Freeze, there is an aspect of the freeze energy in the fawn response, except you're not just a deer in headlights where you're sort of adrenalized but can't move, right? Fawning goes, I have to live with this person, continue to get out of bed every morning, walk through my day. I cannot be that frozen. I need to be animated. I need to go along to get along. How can I
Yep.
survive this? And so I just remember my whole body was terrified, but my tone of voice was even sweet and sort of like, why would you say that? What would you mean? Right. I knew that I actually couldn't just get up and leave because that might anger him. And so I lingered. I pretended there's a real performative aspect to fawning. I pretended that I was still comfortable and I could hang out there a little bit longer until I got, okay, maybe I've been here long enough. I could sort of exit again in this very like kind, sweet, appeasing sort of a way. Um, and you can really see the incongruence between what I was feeling on the inside and how my body responded on the outside. None of this was a conscious choice. I mean, even going back and writing this scene, it's like I was kind of this out of body
Yep.
witness to what I was experiencing. And again, this moment and then a million moments afterward shaped this constant now need to be on guard. I'm hyper vigilant. What's his mood? How can I prolong the good mood? How can I shorten the bad mood? Right. And my whole life starts to revolve around how does my body start to shape shift to become, this thing that sort of tries to keep the peace, even though it's an impossible task. The truth is, it is effective fawning. And
Yep.
sometimes we do keep the peace and prolong the good moments and shorten the bad. And again, it's survival in the sense that we are hardwired for relationships, right? We need one another to survive. Children need their caregivers longer than any other species. We don't even have a prefrontal cortex that's developed until our mid 20s. Um, and again, think about all these other systems of power that hold your life, whether it's your job and a toxic boss, or, you know, um, if you're a marginalized person, a person of color, or
Hmm.
neurodivergent, or, all of these different systems that we reside in, our body knows I don't hold the power here. And these notions of like, well, just speak up and set a boundary. We're literally asking people to walk into the fire to make it worse, at least
No.
with my clients, to walk towards the very thing that did annihilate them, right? And because you read my story, you know that years later, after this hot tub incident, after a lot more happened that I won't go into necessarily here, but I did organize an intervention with the school counselor, right?
Yes, you did.
I I brought in the social services, social workers, and I really felt like, okay, I'm asking for help. I'm doing the right thing, quote unquote, that, really embodies what all of us are told to do. And here's the reality, Robin, it made it so much worse. Okay.
So
So
heartbreaking.
so my body goes, I will never do that again. Right. And
Hmm.
we've learned this time and time again when you try to speak up and someone goes, well, I didn't say that, or you're being ridiculous, or, like I said, we're gaslit, we're manipulated, we're told that we're, whatever. Um, and no help is coming, essentially, right? Like,
So you
uh,
are literally alone, Ingrid. And
that's
that
right.
is, and, and you talk about this in your life, right? Where your mom, the person
Yeah.
who gave
Yeah.
birth to you, who,
Yeah.
who married this man who is hurting you,
Yeah.
is choosing to turn a blind eye
That's
and,
right.
and actually call you a liar, like,
That's right.
and believe him.
That's right.
And so her fawn, she's in it,
She's
right?
in it. She
and
can't
she
see the
is
truth.
lost in it. She can't see
That's
the
right.
truth.
Yeah.
So that is so painful. Like
Mm.
and I don't think you'd ever get over that, right?
Yeah.
That's your mother.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
People get lost in these kind of situations where if you
Yes.
speak up and when you go against this is wrong. This is how I need to protect myself.
Yeah.
You are not given that support.
That's right. So it's not just that our bodies are turning to the response that sort of feels like it's going to help us survive in the moment. But again, what I didn't always love about the language of codependency or people pleasing is that it just put the origins of these behaviors just in our body and not
Right.
in the context that you're actually living in, right? So I did not turn to fawn because I have a self esteem problem, right? I turned to fawn because, God, this makes me
It was
emotional every time I
survival.
think about it. I loved myself so much that my body said, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to hold on to a shred of myself in the situation. Right. And so to shame us for that, and quite frankly, even to shame my mother, like I've come to this point now where I can really truly see, right? If I understand that why we lose ourselves when we fawn is because our entire sense of safety lies outside of our own body. We're just oriented to other people in the environment. Do you like me? Am I okay? Do you give me permission? Can you validate me? There is no self, right? So part of this unfawning process is restoring our relationship to self, taking that perpetual focus that's looking to the outside and going, what do I feel? What am I experiencing? What do I know? Right. And my mom was not afforded that opportunity, that lens, that language. That doesn't mean, by the way, that I don't get to set a healthy boundary in relationship to her behavior or
Mhm.
anyone else's. Right. But it means, that I understand where she's coming from. And here's the truth. I always did. Not with language. I couldn't articulate it. I knew she was stuck. I knew she was lost. I knew she was trapped. But what I always thought is that she's going to come out of it one day, right? And so when he died
Mm.
decades later and she didn't, I had to face, oh my God, she not only did not take care of me then, but she's not even willing to have a real conversation about it even now. And that's where I had to
Right.
say, then you know what? We can't have this kind of relationship where you still see me remotely as the bad guy because
No, that's not gonna work.
that's right.
Um,
That's right.
because in our adult I was talking this we had a long conversation. Kirsten and I had a long conversation about this,
Yeah.
Ingrid, because we
Yeah.
were like, can you imagine that happening, right? Your mom not
Yeah.
like and you hear these
Not
stories time and time
believing
again
you.
and you lived it.
Yeah.
It's just
Mm,
I can't imagine the pain of that, but there are people that are not willing or able to go
that's right.
deep inside to actually take the accountability that's necessary to be like, I
Yeah.
played a part in this horrific pain that was caused to my like I was part of that, right?
Yeah.
And then to
Yeah.
meet you in that place of like, coming to have a relationship with somebody,
Yeah.
they have to meet you. It's maybe not
Yes.
50-50, but
Yes.
at a place where, okay, we can actually start building a healthy connection here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, can we just go through what fawning is so that like people understand the definition of it? I think, like you
Yeah.
said, it's because it's not coming from a place of awareness of people pleasing and codependency. I think that's
Right.
where those behaviors I could see. Yes, it
Mhm.
is. That's putting all the onus on the person that's fawning, not the
That's right.
perpetrator, not the person
Yes.
that's actually and how it's like their survival, right?
Yes.
But then
Yes.
as we're so please describe it because you're the expert in this. I'm trying to
Yes.
talk it out in my understanding, but you're way better
No,
explaining
I
it.
love that. No, I love you putting it in your own words. And the second thing you were, leaning on was we're not putting it in the context of these systems of power. And I feel like that's really important to name.
Yeah.
Also, that fawning is encouraged, it's celebrated, right? As opposed to some of the other trauma responses. This is one where we go, yeah, good job. I'm glad you just pretended to smile and hugged your
Mm.
creepy uncle and stayed late at work and didn't ask for any sort of credit or you know what I mean? It's like
Oh,
we love
right.
that. We go, okay, fantastic. You're going to carry all of the shame for the whole system, fantastic. I don't have to look at my part, great, you know? So, there's a lot of other context contextual reasons why fawning is so entrenched and supported because it goes well beyond our body. But I think some of the signs and sort of symptoms that we see where people go, oh, yeah, I can relate to that. Like, if looking at what we've already just covered, you can see why we're very conflict avoidant because conflict is not it's not honored. Like, you couldn't have a difference of opinion. It's like I said, when I sort of
Mm,
stepped up and said, "Hey, there's something wrong here," I was the scapegoat, right? I was thrown under the bus, and so
yep.
my body goes, "Oh, got it. There, you cannot disagree." So disagreement or setting boundaries, I mean, it literally does feel like life or death. It feels like terror in the body. And knowing that really helped me unlock sort of decades of shame because like I said, these things are talked about like it's so obvious and intellectually I could go, yes, it does sound obvious, but these were not available to me when my body is screaming terror. And then I go, well, why is my body screaming terror? I'm just filled with shame. There must be something wrong with me. I double down on this idea that I'm broken and now I'm stuck even more, right? So letting people understand, well, yes, of course your body is filled with terror. You make all the sense in the world. That's actually an indicator that you're probably moving in the right direction. You don't need to steamroll past it. That's not the
Mm,
goal, right?
hmm.
The goal is to be with yourself in the terror. If you think about my mom in this case not being there with me in the terror, a lot of trauma healing is finding other witnesses that can be, but also growing our own capacity as adults to be with the terror now, not to try to talk ourselves out of it or be like, what's wrong with you? You're being ridiculous, but to honor, like, if my body's feeling terror, there must be a reason. And I'm not going to,
Yes.
second guess it. I'm going to go, okay, whew, this is really scary. Can I slow down? Can I be present to myself? Like, for the people that can't see, I'm putting my hands on my heart, just like literally holding my own body. So we're conflict avoidant. It's hard to set boundaries. We apologize to the people that have hurt us, right?
Yes.
There's
It's like
this
you
I
apologizing to someone when they've hurt you. It's just
yes.
I have done that
Yes.
so many times, Ingrid. I mean, as an
Oh,
adult with like family members, it's like
yes.
they treat me like
Yes.
absolute garbage, and then the
Yeah.
next day, it's like, oh, I'm the one that's in the wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But then I'm like, okay, Robin, you got to fix this. I just instantly like
Yeah.
my fawn response is like,
Yeah.
what are the words I can use here? Like what love can I pour on this
Mm.
situation?
Yeah.
How can I
Well,
speak in a way that they're gonna or d y and then it's like, that is so it's like I'm going to the person that hurt me and being like, "Let's fix this."
Well, and you're
God.
doing it with this voice that to me embodies both toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing, which again, we get this information from every direction. It's like, well, Robin, if you were more spiritual, you could just let it go, right? If you could just accept and forgive. And we sort of offer these platitudes to people as though they're a salve, as though they and all it does again is it shames us even more because we go, well, great, now I'm filled with terror and I'm a loser because I can't sort of immediately forgive you for something that in this moment still feels unforgivable to me.
Right,
So,
but the gaslighting actually is so
uh,
like, I it's so convincing.
it's so convincing, and then we gaslight ourselves. We
Like, I
believe
was
it, and we
wrong. I
go,
actually did something wrong. I
I
definitely am in
gotta,
the wrong, and I didn't
I
I
need
have
to
to
look
own
at
my
my
part,
part.
all
Yes,
that.
my part, my part. Well, what fawners tend to do is we never ask people to own their part too. Right? That's we
Right.
just sort of, "Whoop, okay, I'm gonna own my part, and that's going to make you feel better." And now the whole system can sort of move forward. But we never have people take accountability for how they impacted things, right? It's like we just do it and we go, "Okay, now it's done." So, that's
So
why some of
losing
these
our
things
voice, like
losing our voice.
and
That's
and
right.
and and like you said, like, I know in the example, like, I just think about, for instance, like,
Mm,
my second marriage, like,
yeah.
what a disaster. It was like fawning, fawning, fawning for the whole relationship.
Yep.
And it's like you do lose your sense of self. I lost my
Totally.
voice. I lost my
Yes.
like, and I had such low self-esteem. Like, is it self-esteem or is it like, and you said you lose trust in yourself.
That's right.
You're not using your intuition. You're looking,
Yes.
it's like somehow you're trusting outs like, you're looking for the trust and the safety outside of yourself, and
Yes.
you've lost touch with who you are, like, so many
That's
ways.
right. And your gut and your cues and this other information where the red flags are, where the signals are that tell you I'm mad, right? We override our anger. It's like, well, I can't be angry. Um, and it has nowhere to go. And so we either turn it back on ourselves and go, well, it must be me. Let me look at my part. Or this is where we might turn to gossip or sort of, it's like we can't deal with our anger directly, in other words, right? So it's not that we're not mad. We just can't tell you that we're mad. And this thing that you're saying where we lose access to ourselves, to me, it's the most painful symptom of all. Um, and you said something earlier that made me think of this. We don't set out to lose ourselves. We don't set out to self abandon, right? Nobody does.
No.
You're not even looking at what you're losing. You're looking at what you're gaining or what you're hoping to gain, which is the safety
Yeah.
and the connection out here. And so often in our relationships, I mean, I did this forever in my first marriage and million relationships before it, you know, I'm like, I'm seeing what help they need and trying to offer it. I'm waiting for them to sort of see me back or get better or get sober or get a job or stop, cheating or being an asshole. It's like there's this perpetual waiting. Like they're going to show up and see me back and reciprocate, right? Like I'm giving and I'm overextending and I'm caretaking and I'm doing all the things. And there's just this sense in all of our relationships that there's no reciprocity. But even though we might know that, we go, what's going to happen any minute now? Like I know they mean well. And we figure out why they're not showing up. And we go, well, they come by it honestly. And maybe if I'm just a little more patient, or maybe if they go to therapy. And we stay stuck in this, like, we're never going to get out of that trap until we move the needle, right?
Yes.
The likelihood that the other person is going to move the needle. Why would they? All their needs are being met because we're running circles around them, doing all this caretaking and being so helpful
Yeah.
and
But
loving
this makes perfect sense though, Ingrid, because I think, you're saying this and I'm like, oh, the light bulb moment just went off because it's like,
yeah,
we repeat stuff in our adulthood that
that's right.
we have not healed from our childhood. And
Yeah,
so your home environment, in my home environment, I was fawning all the time. That was my
yeah,
safety. That was the way that I behaved in order
yeah,
to keep my connection with
yeah,
with my family, right?
that's right.
And
Yes,
then I naturally, I guess, fell into that exact pattern in my intimate partnerships. I
that's right.
had
Well,
like
there's
it was like that cycle was continuing.
yes. And there's several reasons for that. One is for everyone, no matter where you come from, our blueprint, right, is in terms of what you grew up in. It's like it's what's familiar. So when
Yeah.
we see and feel familiar in the world, even though you might be screaming, I would never choose my upbringing and I want to do it differently, your chemistry feels very tied to like, oh, I know what that is. But on top of that, when you're talking about a trauma response like fawning, okay, I I was so disempowered. The one sense of power I had was when I was fawning. Okay. So
Mm.
I actually also felt like this is my currency. This is what I have to offer in relationship. This is like the best of me, how I can be helpful and appeasing and caretaking and all these things.
And so loving and
Yes.
all yes, and I
Yes.
can yes, I am an amazing caretaker, caregiver. Mhm.
Yes. Why did I become a therapist? I mean, let's be real. And so then when I feel a combination of a couple different things because I fawned differently with my stepdad, which was that more sort of like performance, appeasing kind of, don't be mad at me or hurt me kind of a fawn response. than I did with my mom, right? When it comes to neglect or abandonment, that's really where the caretaking comes in. It's almost like,
Yes.
I'm going to help you stand so you can finally sort of be with me. And it looks different.
Oh,
But when
yeah.
I felt either of those in my adult life, particularly in my dating life, it turned on my only sense of power in the world. Of course, I leaned into those relationships. My body goes, "You want to exploit me? Well, I know how to handle that." And it feels powerful. Does that make sense? Because it's not that we're going, "Oh, I feel so less than, and you're exploiting me, and I don't have a sense of self esteem." That's not what it feels like. In my body, it feels like I've got this, right? Like
You
this,
know, it's funny
this
it's
is
funny you say
a
that, Ingrid, because
match. Yeah.
I have, a friend of mine who's also a nurse that helps me take care of my son,
Mm,
and she started helping us in my home before I was separated and divorced.
uh-huh.
So she saw the dynamic with my ex
Wow.
and my family, and and now she sees me, who I am.
Mm.
You know, it's been almost 2 years since we haven't been together,
Yeah.
and, well, longer than that, actually, 2.5. Anyways, she's like, "Robin, you were a different person." Like, I
Wow.
was and it's funny because 'cause I'm like, I was holding things up. I mean, you're very capable,
That's right.
and, like, I got this. Like, I
Yes.
did, but in the meantime, I'm going to bed thinking, like, what is going on? Like, I've lost.
Mm,
You just feel so defeated and just a shell of yourself.
that's right.
But you're capable and you're willing and you're like, I can fix this. I was just in
Oh my
complete
gosh.
fixer mode, which is that's not
Yes.
thriving.
That's
That's
not
surviving.
thriving. Well, that image that you just gave of you holding everything up, it's like I see you under the house, under the foundation, like holding it all on your back. And I go, that is so effing strong. Like, let's be real. But where are you in that? Right? Like, no, of course you're
She
not
said, "Robin,
thriving.
you weren't using your voice." She said, "You were so quiet. You
Yeah.
weren't joyful. You
Oh,
weren't
oh,
yourself." And I was like, and for her to see that, I mean, I didn't I mean, I think I
yeah.
saw, but I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting that you saw that perspective." Right? Well, she saw me now then and now. So,
The contrast. Yeah. You can
so
really see it in the contrast.
how do we unfawn? I
Yeah.
because I know my process, and I feel like I've definitely unfond, but I still fawn
Yeah.
because that's my natural
Sure.
that's my go-to, like, my right? So that's the other thing.
Me
It's like
too.
not to shame ourselves. It's like that's my
No.
survival mechanism. That is my kind of my but that's good because we have to have our survival instincts. But how do we
Yes.
unfawn when we are aware that we are actually in those patterns that aren't
Yes.
good?
So you're making such a good point. So we would never actually turn to someone and be like, don't ever fight and stand up for yourself, right? You would
No.
never say that. But there is this sense with fawning that we're supposed to just completely stop, right? And I go, nope, fawning is hardwired. It's appropriate in certain contexts. I probably did it this week and I'm not mad about that,
Exactly, Ingrid.
right? But the difference is, and it is a big difference, we are not meant to live in survival mode 24/7,
Nope.
right? And so part of I think how we unfawn is first of all, honestly, just this lens and language of trauma and the nervous system and why we make sense, I think allows people almost to drop into their body
Mhm.
maybe for the first time that where it's not all filled with like self-hatred and what's wrong with me and I'm broken and everyone else has it figured out and if I could just set a boundary maybe I'd be okay, right? It's like just this understanding that there was nothing, god, this makes me emotional every time, but there was nothing ever wrong with you
No.
ever. It changes our relationship to ourselves and that's the whole point, right? So just that
Yes.
starting point to me is so foundational and I get really excited about it. But yes, beyond that, how do we then pay attention to like what we're experiencing? And we've spoken to some of this stuff already, but part of it is bringing our curiosity back to self. And this is embodied work. It's not theoretical, right?
Mm-mm.
It's experiential. You have to feel it. And so in every trauma training I've ever been to, we don't use the language of like, so what do you think about that? Which
Right.
brings you right
We've
back
been
up to
doing
your
too
head.
much thinking. We're doing too much
Yes,
thinking. We're not in the body where it's
we're not
actually
in the body. And so we say, what do you notice right now?
hmm,
What are you experiencing right now? Where do you feel that? These types of prompts are great for all of us to know the distinction between when we're overanalyzing and figuring something out and giving everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not in my own body at all, and going, but what am I experiencing right now? And I often do it with my hand on my
Mm.
heart, which is sort of a stance of self compassion. It makes me take a spontaneous deep breath, which means I'm more regulated. And this one pivot into what am I noticing, even if it's for half a second, oh my gosh, the body's going to feel the difference. And here's the thing, it's going to appreciate your own attention.
Oh,
So
yeah.
even if we can't do it for long, it's going to want to continue to build on that and to build on that and to build on that. So I say find, and there are a million different ways, there's no wrong way to do it, but find ways and tools that you can be in your body in as regulated or on the way to regulated state as possible. And that tends to involve the senses. The senses are the language of the nervous system. So, what kind of music do you love? When was the last time you lit the fancy scented candle that you bought but don't want to waste it so you never light it? Like, go light the darn thing and enjoy that smell. Can you feel your feet on the ground? When was the last time you connected to nature? Peter Levine's work, he's the founder of somatic experiencing. He has something called orienting, and everyone can do it no matter where you are, and it's free and it goes with you everywhere you go. And it's just literally pausing, look around the room and notice what you see.
Mhm.
Just orienting visually. We are so in autopilot most of the time, scrolling and multitasking. We're not in our own bodies, right? So, this is a way to not only practice mindfulness, but to use the senses, which again, the language of the nervous system. My body knows if I'm scanning the environment and I'm looking around and I'm literally noticing that I'm not under threat, my body can start to relax. I'm not telling myself, Ingrid, you're not under threat. There's no threat. My body
Mm-mm.
goes, I don't care what you're saying. I feel tense and hypervigilant. When I look around and I notice what I see and I orient to nature, for me, I love orienting to nature. I see the color of the leaf outside my window. My body goes, and I'm more present, right? So you can see which sensory channel you're drawn to. You can try them all. But notice what tends to happen when I show almost every client this exercise. I visibly watch them come into their body. I see them take a deeper,
Mhm.
spontaneous breath. It's not efforting. It's not like I need to take a deeper breath. They just go right.
Yeah.
So I love walking.
Me
Just the
too.
simple act of being out in the world and moving my body, right, left, rhythmic movements. This is also foundational in another trauma modality called EMDR. It helps you process memories, move them from right hemisphere to left hemisphere. You don't need to know all that, but the point is these simple things make a huge difference, right?
Yep.
So it's these practices of being with ourselves and creating an internal sense of safety, maybe for the first time ever. And here's what I'll say about that. The reason I talk about this first, when you say, how do we unfawn? I don't go, well, you march into that relationship and you tell them what you've been thinking.
No.
We do not make it relational first. We
No.
make it relational with
With
ourselves.
ourselves, we lost ourselves. We've
Yes. So we
our
have to
connection
build.
to ourselves. We're looking outside of ourselves. And
That's right.
that's the focus cannot like this is where we need to be focused.
That's right. And it's so key. And so we grow this relationship to self
Yeah.
first. It's foundational. And then what we start to tend to notice is that terror that I was talking about, or the fear, or the overwhelm, or the dissociation, all these different ways where our body goes, oh, it's not safe, I'm out, right? And we start to practice, well, can I be with that feeling even just a moment longer and notice what I notice? Can I be with me? Or can I ask someone to be with me, a safe person? Doesn't have to be a therapist. It could be your best friend on the phone. Like, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I don't want you to try to fix it, but can you just like be with me in the feeling for a minute? And here's what happens when we start to grow our capacity to feel the tough feelings, we really do get the sense that often it is like a weather pattern, right? It's going to come in and
Mm.
it's going to move
Mm-hmm.
out, and we don't have to try to like outrun it. And so many clients that have complex trauma, which is relational trauma, right? Ongoing sense of relational threat. They go, Ingrid, how do I know if I'm just triggered from something in my past or if something real is happening right now that is actually dangerous? This is how we start to discern, is by
Mm.
feeling the feelings in the moment when they come. Now I have the capacity to go, oh, you know what? This is really uncomfortable. Like that, I don't like this feeling, but I know that I'm not in danger in this moment, right?
Right.
And it's not a light switch. It doesn't happen overnight. These are practices that start to change your relationship to yourself and your conscious awareness of things. We're moving from this like reflexive reactivity to mindful presence in my body. And over time, you start to know this isn't dangerous, right? It feels scary, but I am here. I can be with myself in this fear. And sometimes we go, this is scary because this is scary. I'm walking into the
Right.
lion's den. I'm not going to go in and be super vulnerable and, give them my full self. And so maybe I do need a little defending or a little guarding. And how do I want to do that? You might even look like a fawn response, but where it's more conscious, where you go, this
Yeah.
person is not safe. I'm going to go in, I'm going to smile, I'm going to get my paycheck, I'm going to get out and go home. But it feels different because you're not overriding that fear and overwhelm. You're honoring it first. Oh my God, this is terrifying. Okay, I get it. I'm here. I'm going to walk in. I'm going to be with myself when I walk out. Do you know what I mean? It feels
Oh,
so different in the body.
absolutely. And because of your awareness and because of your deeper connection to yourself,
Yeah.
you're able to go through the emotion,
Mm.
experience it, and not carry that. I mean, that's been my experience since
Yeah.
I've, my unfawning and my
Yeah.
deeper love and connection to myself. I'm feeling my
Mm.
emotions like way,
Mm.
like just real. Before
Yes.
I was like, I was numbing, you know, that was absolutely my experience because it's like
Yes.
that was my natural go-to. Like it's been like a
Yep.
heck of a day. I'm just gonna have some wine right now. That'll help.
Yep.
It doesn't. Like
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
it's
doing
very
that anymore.
common.
Of course it is. And
Wow.
I could see
Yeah.
why. Like the
Mhm.
why is clear to me. But that
Yeah.
wasn't the solution. It's like going into and I think about what when you're talking about this, my response, like I'm dealing with my I'm co-parenting with my ex
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's not easy, but my
Mhm.
response is different. Where I used to fawn, now it's like
Mm.
it's whatever is warranted in that experience. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about these things. How am I going to deal with this in the moment? It's
Yeah.
like if this is a survival response, sometimes I'm like I am fighting. It's with a little bit of more strength, more
Wow.
like this is
Yes.
the response that actually I'm coming to
That's
right
right.
now,
That's
and
right.
then I'm able to feel the emotion, like, "Holy shit, that wasn't
Mm.
easy. That was hard,"
Mm.
and then
Mm.
let it go. So I'm not holding on to stuff anymore either. That's
Yes.
a different way to
You
be.
just pointed to like 10 different really important things in that example. So, one is that if you're in a chronic fawn response, you tend to lose a healthy fight response. A healthy fight
Mm,
response is having a voice, setting boundaries, being able to speak up for yourself, right? So, a big part of this process then tends to be learning to tolerate both the anger too. It's not just the fear and the terror, but like, I'm mad or this doesn't work
yeah,
for me, and finding a way to voice it, right? So that you can go, well, that doesn't work for me, right? We'll have to find another
mhm,
solution. And to your point, yes, then when we say it and own it and feel it, we know, oh my God, I didn't die. It worked out okay. My needs were met to whatever degree. And the body goes, oh, you mean it's safer now to feel our anger and that we don't have to stuff it? We can actually make different choices around it. And again, that's why it's experiential. You can't just tell someone, like, well, go get a healthy fight response. It's like, oh my gosh, in the moment, I have to go, can I say this thing
mm,
that I never could have said before, but I'm going to It feels like I should and I can do it now, and I have the resources, so I'm gonna go ahead. But the other thing that I feel like I always need to call attention to, again, for people that have really complex trauma, the idea of just being with yourself and tolerating the feelings and sort of bringing your attention inward tends not to be enough because um, you might have unmetabolized
Mhm.
historical trauma that's still in the driver's seat. You might not even know what it is. And so often, in the most ideal scenario, people would find a trauma therapist. And trauma
Yes.
therapy tends to be very different than traditional talk
Mm.
therapy. There are so many modalities. I mentioned just a few in the book because they're my personal experience, either as a therapist or as a client with working with trauma therapists. Um, but you should be able to ask a potential therapist, do you work with complex trauma? What modalities do you use? And they should be able to tell you. So it's different to be trauma trained than to be trauma informed. Trauma informed could just mean, like, oh, yes, I've heard of trauma, right? And so
Hmm.
I say, ask the hard questions. You're allowed. A therapist should absolutely be able to say, I work with exactly what you're talking about. Here's why I think this modality could be useful. And even then, when you show up, boy, do fawners fawn with our therapists. We go, I don't want them to know that what they're doing isn't helpful at all, right? So we
Oh,
don't engage with
yes.
conflict
Fawning
even
with
with
your
our therapists.
therapist.
So then we have to be willing to kind of check in, and hopefully a therapist is also checking in, like, well, how is this working for you? What are you noticing? And then I want to encourage you to tell them the truth.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything wrong if you go, I feel nothing. This doesn't feel helpful. This feels like I feel worse. This is the feedback that this therapist needs in order to help you, first of all. And second of all, if they can't meet you there, if they can't offer other supports or other ways in that actually do feel helpful, this is the information that lets you know this is not the right working relationship. Don't stay there for 5 years and go, well, I don't know, I've just been with them for so long,
Right.
right? Um,
I've had
yeah.
I've had experience in my life with quite a few different therapists.
Mhm,
And your book points back to over and over again, Ingrid,
mhm.
um, is that we have the answers inside of ourselves.
That is right,
And
but
the
we've lost
wisdom
connection.
we
Mhm,
have. And that's what
mhm.
I've done like a lot of work on myself to and it's not work on myself. It's like I'm loving, yeah, which is loving myself.
Yes!
And that
Oh, I
takes
love that.
work. And what does
Yeah.
that take? It takes a lot of introspection. It takes a lot of
Mm.
space.
Yes,
Giving myself the love that I was looking outside of myself for,
that's
reparenting
right.
myself like you talk about in your
Yes,
book.
yes.
Um and like you said, going out in nature, I don't do a lot of meditation per se, but I do spend a lot of time just there's prayer, time in
Mhm.
silence, all these things,
Yes.
using the sauna, whatever you can do in your life to
Yes.
actually just spend time with yourself, getting to know yourself on these deep, deep, deep levels. And let's
Yes.
just say that you come and you're working with a therapist and you're like,
Yeah.
something inside you is going, this isn't quite fitting, or I'm not. You can intellectualize that all day long, but something in you might be telling you, no, not good
Yeah.
fit. And it's like
Yes.
listening to yourself, honoring the wisdom that you already have inside yourself. Like this is probably not the person to help me. That's okay.
Right. And sometimes what can also happen is you go, this doesn't feel like a good fit. And the therapist goes, oh, wow, tell me about that. What are you experiencing? What are you noticing? And then they see this whole thing they couldn't see before.
Right.
And it's not that they're not a good fit or the modality isn't a good fit, but there's just this whole other piece that they're able to bring in. But they can't do that unless we sort of speak up.
We have to
And
use
it's
our
hard.
voice. It is
Yes.
hard.
Oh,
Yes.
gosh, it's
All the
so
things.
hard.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Ingrid Clayton, I'm so grateful you came on today, and I learned so much from you. I really, and I'm going to be recommending your book. I'm going to be passing it on because it's
Oh, that's
fantastic.
awesome.
Fawning, it's so good. Yeah,
Thank you for taking the time to read it, to discuss it with your best friend, to listen to it. It's really, it creates such a meaningful conversation when I'm able to connect with folks that really spent time with, you're a writer with what we took hours and hours and hours trying to articulate and put on the page. And not everybody does that, right? So I feel very honored by you taking the time to do it, to run it through your own body, because that's the most interesting thing. I go, well, we
Yeah.
could talk about these ideas, but I want to know, what does it mean in your life and in your body? And that's the stuff that's going to help other people see how it relates to their life and their body. So thank you for all of that.
We're doing this for healing and for having better relationships. And this one was a huge marker for me. So thank you.
No, I appreciate that.
I'm gonna close with a blessing with
Oh,
with
great.
my learnings through you this week. So
Okay.
may we understand that the process of unfawning is a paradigm shift.
Mm,
Unfawning is an expansion of ourselves. May we remember we can break the pattern of chronic fawning. We can start by honoring ourselves and our needs, reconnecting with our inner guidance, and
mm,
feeling our feelings. May we maintain our relationship with ourselves by directing our empathy, patience, and goodwill and wisdom we've given to others back to ourselves. And I just want to thank you, Dr. Ingrid. So blessings to you.
I loved every word of that blessing. Thank you for sharing it, and thanks again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Let's Talk Love is brought to you by Real Love Ready and hosted by Robin Ducharme. If you'd like to keep learning with us, visit realloveready.com for more resources and tools to boost your relational skills and get better at love. If this podcast has resonated with you, it would mean the world to us if you could take just 30 seconds to do these 3 things. Follow or subscribe. Never miss an episode by hitting the follow or subscribe button wherever you listen to your podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite app. This makes sure new episodes show up automatically for you, and it helps us get more visibility so more people can find our show. Leave a rating and review. Your feedback means everything to us. By leaving a 5-star rating and a thoughtful review, you're not only showing your support, but also helping others discover the podcast. Share an episode that really spoke to you with someone in your life, whether it's a friend, partner, or family member. Your recommendation could just be what they need to hear. We at Real Love Ready acknowledge and express gratitude for the Coast Salish people, the stewards of the land on which we work and play, and encourage you to take a moment to acknowledge and express gratitude for those that have stewarded and continue to steward the land that you live on as well. Many blessings and much love.